Question 13 in Chapter 9 says that a patient needs 100 grams of glucose. Now, it's going to take them 12 hours to get it, but they need 100 grams. How many liters of a 5% mass volume glucose solution must be given? All right, when they give you these sort of word problems, you want to identify two big things: the numbers they give you and the units that they're asking for. So first, the numbers. The first number I see is 100 grams of glucose. So I'm going to write that over here, grams of glucose. Now the next number I see is 12 hours, but I don't see that showing up anywhere else in the problem. I guess I'll write it over here just to make a note of it, but maybe I see it connect somewhere else, but really they're just asking how many liters, how much. They're not asking about the time anywhere. But okay, 12 hours. Now, next we see a question word. If you see any who, what, when, where, or why, you want to start looking for units. So we see how many, question word, liters. So that's what we're ultimately trying to get. And specifically liters of this solution. SOLN, remember, is an abbreviation for solution. So they say how many liters of A, and then we see another number, 5% mass volume glucose solution must be given. Okay, so now we've extracted everything that's useful out of all those words. We've boiled the words down to anything that could have meaning. So we have our numbers and the units we're looking for. Now you can categorize the numbers in two sort of categories. One is numbers that have units that can't be broken down anymore. So grams can't be broken down anymore. And those are often the numbers that you start with when you do your conversions. The numbers that can be broken down, you want to break down and then use them as conversion factors. Oftentimes after you break them down, you'll see a connection that you may not have seen before. So when you have 5% mass volume, those key words, or percent mass volume, that should suggest a formula. Specifically, grams, so we have 5 grams of your solute, glucose, per cent, per every 100 volume, right? Volume is on the bottom, so 100 milliliters of solution, SOLN, abbreviation for solution. Okay, after you break these down, you can often see a connection. So for example, here, we can see a connection between the grams of the glucose that we start with and grams of the glucose in this formula, or in that conversion factor. So we can take that 100 grams of glucose, every time you do a conversion, right, a multiplication sign, a fraction bar, and the units that you start with on top always go on the bottom so that they'll cancel out. Okay, so that would go there. Okay, now we can use this conversion factor here to fill in that fraction. Next to grams of glucose goes 5, and on the other side of the fraction bar we'll have 100 milliliters of solution. So grams of glucose cancel out. We're left with milliliters of glucose. We don't want milliliters though, we want liters, and so we can do one more conversion. We have to remember that there are 1,000 milliliters in every 1 liter. And so, knowing that conversion factor, we can, every time we do a conversion, do a multiplication sign, fraction bar, the units that we start with on the top, which here were milliliters of solution, we want on the bottom so that it cancels out. And then next to milliliters, we can put 1,000. And going over the fraction bars, like going across the equal sign, so on top we have 1 liter. So the milliliters of solution cancel out. We are left with liters of solution. And that's what we wanted. So we just need to plug this stuff into a calculator. That would be 100 times 100, enter, divided by 5, enter, times 1, enter, divided by 1,000, enter. And I am getting 2. So that would be 2 liters of solution that you would want to administer to this patient. And you can get a sense of how big that is. That's how big those soda bottles are that sometimes come with pizzas, 2-liter bottles. So that's how much solution you'd have to give the person of this 5% mass volume glucose in order to give them the 100 grams that they need.